All right, I told you I wanted to get back and look at some of the draft watch, sort of stock watches here for some of these young players. I want to go to the Champions League here, and I have really been impressed by the youngster who is really starting to torch some of these men that he's playing. It's a boy against men, and the boy is winning out here on this one. Really like to see where he's going. His stock is soaring in my books, and he will be one of the top selections in the NHL draft, in my personal opinion, and I've heard that from a few scouts as well. Now, meantime, back in North America, you look in the junior side. As we look ahead to the semifinal matchups in the Champions League, I'll tell you what, one storyline I am so intrigued to continue to watch is involving the youngster, and he has played so well in Champions League play up to this point. Just think about his draft stock going through the roof right now. I've talked to a couple of scouts who've been really impressed by the way he has shown against adults, right? This is a men's league, right? And this kid is showing that he belongs. So can he make that next jump wherever he's playing next year? The way that he's playing, I'm confident that he can. All right, meantime, when you look at the other matchup in the semifinals, and I thought, personally speaking, one name that will be likely called near the top, if not the top, of the NHL draft coming up in the summer is from the youngster that we saw in the Champions League. What a performance, what a show he put on. I talked to a few scouts that absolutely raved, and they didn't have him very high at the beginning of the season, but throughout the Champions League, they could not look away. He would not be denied, and there's stock that has absolutely shot up recently. Now, one name that I think is going to be impacted by his So here we go, the moment of truth almost upon us, Champions League final. And I'll tell you what, you want one of my keys to the game going into this one? Keep an eye on the youngster. He has been lights out in this tournament so far. I love the game he's played throughout the entire tournament. And you watch, he has a chance to be a major difference maker the way he has played so far. Let's see if he can carry that over into the Champions League final. Ray Ferraro is going to drop by in just a little bit. Also help. So your Champions League winners for this upcoming year, and I'll tell you what, one of the big stars in my mind was their youngster. What a performance by the kid. You don't expect those types of performances from youngsters in a league or in a tournament like this, and I thought he was one of the best players all tournament long. His draft stock, to me, through the roof. To me, he looks like he can play in the NHL now, based on the efforts that we saw in that Champions League. Really impressed. A couple of other things that really impressed me on the way to this. And that's coming up still a little later on in the show. Now, back to the NHL Draft Combine, and from what I heard over the weekend, the youngster still making headlines, and he had a long conversation with the San Jose Sharks. And I was told by both parties that there was a really good fit and a really good chemistry in the meeting. Now, take that for what it's worth. We'll see how things ultimately play out on draft day, but that could be a good fit potentially with the San Jose Shark in the Bay Area. All right, meantime, you look at some of the other stories. And how about this over the weekend? From what I was told, the Montreal Canadiens had an interview with the youngster. And yeah, how about that, Les Glorieux? And how does that play out in La Belle Province? There's a very intriguing symmetry between the Habs and this youngster. And I do wonder, is this going to be a fit on draft day? With much more of their thoughts on this, we're going to head down. And the St. Louis Blues were said to interview the kid, and when you look at that sort of veteran leadership already established with the organization, a place for a young player to fit in, what a great place to marinate, learn, develop for a team that has now established a strong winning tradition in recent years, where they have become really one of the model franchises of the last several years in the NHL. So the Blues, a team to watch, and could be a great fit for the kid going forward. Hey, what else is a great fit right here on this show? Well, as we inch closer and closer to the big draft day, and I'll tell you what, when we look at some of the draft rankings and some of the scouts that I've talked to, I think we're all kind of on the same page. We've got this kid ranked pretty high, and he has put himself in a position to be a very high selection in that first round when we get to draft day. Keep an eye on him. Mark my words, anybody who passes on him may be regretting.